fascinating news day. President Obama gave a speech that I think really points to some very real issues. Al Gore gave an amazing, I think it was a commencement address a couple of days ago. Hillary Clinton gave a speech that is really worthy of note. And it's all, all of it in aggregate, frankly, I think is raising some very, very serious questions about our media. And, one piece of this is Donald Trump the new heroin for the media? And if so, what set them up to be junkies? I mean, people don't typically just say, hey, I think I'll become a junkie. Let's start shooting this stuff up. That sounds like fun. No, it's usually not how it goes. I mean, sometimes, but usually you don't so much see that with people who are otherwise appropriately occupied, shall we say. So I'd like to start actually with Hillary Clinton and Al Gore, because I think that they set this up so brilliantly. First, this is clip number 13, Jim. You've got video on this as well. Let me know when you're ready. This is Hillary Clinton, and the way I caught this is I saw a post over at Democratic Underground, and it said somebody loaded Bernie Sanders' speech into Hillary Clinton's teleprompter, and she read it, and it's hysterical. And I listened to it, and I thought, that's not Bernie's speech, and B, this is Hillary's version of that, and C, isn't it a great thing that she's talking like this? I mean, I think this is absolutely a marvelous thing. This is what you want. This is what you want is when, your quote establishment politicians start talking about the anti-establishment or like they're part of it. Here's Hillary Clinton yesterday.
Now, the idea, I believe, that money is speech turns our Constitution upside down. Wealth should not be privileged in the courts. In fact, it should have no privilege. Yet at a time when inequality between working Americans and those at the top is starker than ever, the Supreme Court has given the wealthiest Americans even greater power to affect what happens in our democracy. Justice Ginsburg says if there were one recent decision she'd overrule, it's this one. I'm with her, and I hope she gets the chance to do just that.
There you go. I'm with her too. Both of her. I think that's great. And this is Hillary Clinton campaigning in Wisconsin yesterday, and in Dyson, Dison, Wisconsin. I thought that was great. This Al Gore clip is actually a 4-year-old clip, but from a commencement address. But it is, in a way, I think, I've been saying for some time that the whole Bernie phenomenon is really not about Bernie. I mean, it is in as much as, Bernie Sanders is a genuine politician who really does have the record he does and really has done that amazing thing of being in politics for 30 years and never selling out or never selling out's the wrong word, never taking money from any special interest groups. But the larger point that I've been making for some time is that, whether Bernie is the Democratic nominee or not, whether he becomes our president or not, the revolution, was going full tilt boogie before Bernie stepped onto the national stage in a really big way 9 months ago. And it will continue after he leaves that stage, whether he leaves that stage in the next few months or whether he leaves that stage 4 years from now or 8 years from now. I mean, who knows? And the fact that Al Gore was saying this 4 years ago tells me back, when the Arab Spring was going on, tells me that his call for an American Spring, that this, what we're seeing here now, I think is, we're not yet to the birth pains, but it's like the contractions. Those of you who've been through babies. But we've been pregnant with this thing for at least a decade and a half. I'd say, frankly, since 2000, since the Supreme Court stole the presidency from Al Gore and gave it to George W. Bush. But anyhow, here's Al Gore in 2012 speaking about an American Spring.
Corporations are not people. Money is not speech. We can afford to educate our young people. We can afford to give quality health care. We can afford to clean up the environment. We can afford to seize our own destiny. You will have the opportunity to do things greater than you can possibly imagine. And now is the time. We need an American spring this spring. We need to occupy democracy in the United States of America.
Which raises the question or the problem, how do you occupy democracy, to use Al Gore's phrase? How do you do that when the principal arbiter of democracy is the corporate media? Arbiter is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, and the media, on the one hand, on the Trump side, is like way over the top, totally in love with Donald Trump, and other bizarre things like giving equal time to climate change deniers who are paid for by the fossil fuel industry, when in fact there's not a single credible scientist who is not funded by the fossil fuel industry who says there's no such thing as man-made climate change. None. I mean, they say 98, 97, 99%. No, it's 100%. Out of 32,000 some odd studies, we did this story last week, there were 4 that questioned climate change. And it turns out all 4 of them were written wholly or in part by people who were receiving money from the fossil fuel industry. So it's just like, there's not a single credible scientist in the world who denies this. So anyhow, this is clip number 1. This is President Obama, first of all, expressing his concern about the state of the media with regard to the current presidential campaign.
I know I'm not the only one who may be more than a little dismayed about what's happening on the campaign trail right now. In the coarsening of the debate, the sense that facts don't matter, that they're not relevant, that what matters is how much attention you can generate, the sense that this is a game, as opposed to the most precious gift our founders gave us, this collective enterprise of self-government.
And the so-called Fourth Estate, the press. And in fact, President Obama goes on to talk about, when facts don't matter, what hurts, what suffers, democracy. Here he is.
When our elected officials and our political campaigns become entirely untethered to reason and facts and analysis, when it doesn't matter what's true and what's not, that makes it all but impossible for us to make good decisions on behalf of future generations.
And, I think he's speaking indirectly, or perhaps more directly, about global climate change and the so-called debate around that, and all the nonsense in the media. Or he may be talking about how all the Republican candidates and the vast majority of Republicans in Congress say, there's no such thing. Hey, Koch brothers, send me some more money, please. So is this how you want your democracy run? I mean, this is the state of our democracy right now. So how is it moving forward? And what do we do about it? I wanted to talk a little bit about the fairness doctrine as well, but just in general, the state of our media, how they don't identify shills, for example.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.